Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Indie Filmmaking, Truth and Reality. I'm your host, Jeff Deverett, and today we have another special guest. We have Brandon Keeton, who is an independent filmmaker. I met Brandon many, many years ago through consulting, and he told me he's going to make a film, and I said, sure you are. And sure enough, he did make a film, and sure enough, he finished it, and sure enough, he's distributing it right now. And I've kind of stayed in touch with him through the years, and I thought, what a great guest to have on the show to share his journey about filmmaking with other filmmakers like you. So this is going to be a fun episode from a real indie filmmaker. Hang on. If you want to be a successful indie filmmaker, you need to know a lot about not just the production of movies, but the business. We are going to tell you the truth and reality of what really happens in the indie film business. All right, today we have Brandon Keeton, independent filmmaker. Brandon, great to have you on the show. We met many years ago. You called me up. I'm going to say that you were exploring the idea of filmmaking. If I remember, you're ex-military or you're a vet. And so I want you to tell everybody your story and just remind me how we met and when the journey started.
So, okay, I'm going to condense this a lot here. I had a scholarship to college for acting that I did not take. And instead I joined the Marine Corps and found that I, had other talents, doing all the cool stuff, jumping out of helicopters and blowing stuff up and, having a good time. So I decided to stay for 21 years, 20 years, 8 months, 10 days. And when I got out, I started my own small business. I owned a martial arts school. Was having a wonderful time doing that. I loved being a coach. I loved being the neighborhood dad, that was pretty cool. But then one day I was sitting on my couch and, I realized I had been, my entire adult working life had been spent in the service to others. And I 30 years of my life, 21 in the Marine Corps, and at that point, 9 owning the martial arts school. I just thought, I would really like to do something selfish for a while. And I remembered that I had that scholarship to college back in the day. And wow, actors are some pretty selfish people. So maybe I should try that, just for a little while, just to see how it goes, And so I got some headshots. 3 months later, I was the Scott's lawn care guy for at least a couple of months. And 3 months after that, we were filming Turbo Cola. I think when I had contacted you, we were getting ready to shoot. And it was still, an impossible dream. And I've told people this before, I've been in the Marine Corps. I've done a lot of hard stuff in my life.
Right.
Making a movie is the second hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Well, clearly you're going to have to share the hardest thing now that you've said the second hardest.
Being in the Marine Corps.
Oh, okay. Like surviving. Yeah. Were you deployed? I can't remember.
Yeah, I did. I deployed to the Med, over to Japan, and of course, Iraq.
Right.
But I got in contact with you right before we started filming.
Just remind me, did you write the script? The film's called Turbo Cola. Did you write the script?
No.
So how did you find the project? Why that?
So in the midst of trying to be an actor very early on, I was cast in a table read for a play that was called New Year's Eve at the Stop and Go. And as we're reading this thing, because they didn't give me the full script, but as we were reading it live, I was like, man, this has got some cool Clerks vibes to it. It's one location. And then I checked my bank account. I was like, I might be able to pull this off.
What you're thinking as you're reading this, that maybe you'll be the producer of a movie?
Yeah.
So you're reading the script as a table read, as an actor at a table read, and you're thinking, I like this. It feels like it's doable. I'm going to produce this. Yeah. Okay. So then the writer of the script, what was...
The writer of the script, Samantha Odie, she was on the table read with us. And in my head, I was like, okay, if somebody says something, I'm going to make, because, if it's in my head, it's in my head, and I don't know what's cool anymore. I've learned that very well being a dad of 4 daughters. So
they got you trained, well trained.
Yeah. So if it's in my head, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's cool.
Brandon,
so,
it's funny because I'm a dad of 4 sons, and my sons never tell me that I'm not cool. Actually, you know what they say to me? They say, Dad, the only thing cool about you is that you actually know you're not cool. And I take that as a compliment.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see.
That's a compliment. It takes all the pressure off. Now I don't have to be cool. But with girls, you got to be cool. You got to be the cool dad. Okay, sorry, I interrupted. So Sandra, the scriptwriter, how did you approach her? What was that discussion like?
Sam, she basically, I thought if somebody says something, then I'll say something, in trying to get in contact with the playwright. And somebody did say something. Somebody, hey, Sam, do you ever think about just making this into a film? And at that point, I was like, oh my God, I have to do this now. So I got in contact with her, and I asked her if I could send the script to literally the only director that I knew. And I knew the only reason I knew him was because he did the commercials for my business. And I called him up. I said, hey, I got this script. I was wondering if I could send it to you and see what you think about it.
Remind me, where were you living at the time, or where do you live?
I'm in central Pennsylvania, just outside of Harrisburg.
And so this director's in central Pennsylvania, local? Right, okay.
Yep. He's also a local. So I sent it to him. I thought, maybe we can make a short film out of this or something. I was hedging my bets. He calls me back, and even though he didn't say it this way, I could tell from the tone of his voice, he's like, no, dumbass. This is not a short film. This is a 95-page script. This is a feature film. So first question out of my mouth was, okay, well, what do we need to do? Again, knowing nothing.
Right, nothing.
Knowing nothing. I've been on 3 sets up to this point.
Right.
One of which was the Scott's Lawn Care thing, and the other 2 were student films up to this point. That's it. That was my experience.
Okay.
So I go, okay, well, what do we need? He goes, well, first of all, and he started throwing up all these roadblocks to me. Well, we're going to need a gas station to film at, and finding a gas station that's going to let you film in their gas station. And, that's almost, good luck. And I'm thinking to myself, hold on a second. I know a guy who owns a gas station. He was the gas station owner across from my martial arts school, and I would basically eat lunch there every summer. So I called him up. Hey, how you doing? He goes, hey, Brandon, you still breaking boards and stuff like that? He's a wonderful Indian guy. And I said, yeah, I'm still breaking boards and stuff, but hey, I'm making a movie. I need a gas station. He goes, a movie? I said, yeah, we would only film at night, when you're closed anyway. He's like, yeah, sure, no problem. I was like, oh, well, that was easy. I call up Luke again. I go, hey, I got a gas station. No more than 45 minutes had gone by, and you could just hear the silence on the other side. Like, is this guy for real?
Hold on. Did Luke get into, you're going to need some money to hire people? Did he get into that?
We hadn't even gotten there yet.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So then he goes, well, we're going to need food and lodging because we don't at that time now it's changed. At that time in central Pennsylvania, there was no crew. So we knew we would have to bring the crew in from Philly and New York.
Right.
And again, that in the last 5 years, that has all changed. I make 3 phone calls. I have a crew now.
Right.
In central Pennsylvania. It's so awesome. We needed food and lodging, somebody to feed us and somebody to house us. And it just so happened that one of my black belts owned a hotel with a restaurant. So I call him up, wonderful family. Can you give us a deal on some rooms and, feed us every night? He goes, yeah, sure. Not a problem. He gave us a great discount on the rooms and fed us every night. Then I guess to Luke at that point, it got real.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh my God. He was 27, 26, 27 at the time. And, somebody just coming to him and saying, hey, do you want to you don't want to direct a film, from his perspective, that it just doesn't happen.
That's a dream come true in central Pennsylvania. Like, who's going to make that phone call? It's like, that's lightning in a bottle. But at what point did you realize you need some money?
Oh, very early on. And we did a budget, and I realized, yes, after checking the bank account, I do have the money to do this. Wow.
Hold on, but did your wife think you're nuts? Like, did your friends? So
yes.
Tell us about that. Like, you all of a sudden have this, what I'm going to call maybe a midlife crisis.
Yes.
You're a father of 4 and you've done Marine Corps in this business and everything. And all of a sudden you wake up and you say, I'm going to be a movie producer.
Yep.
She must have thought you'd slipped and banged your head.
Or somebody kicked me in the head too hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're a tough guy. You don't let too many people kick you in the head. I think it was more of a slip. No, but like, why? Where did it come from? You said you were bored and you wanted something to do for, selfishly, but you could have chosen something easier, cheaper.
I could have.
Buy a motorcycle, go across the country, do something like that. I don't know. Do like a typical midlife crisis thing.
I already had a motorcycle.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. There's other midlife crises things you could have done that was a lot cheaper and easier.
Yes, but the jarhead in me was like, the only good things that happen when you are uncomfortable.
Push yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
but also you had that artistic side too, because you always wanted to be an actor.
Well, that's just it. That's just it as well. Is I felt like, and it's been just a flood of things creatively coming out of me. It had been bottled up. The creative stuff had been bottled up for so long. I was in high school. I was a very avid writer. I was in, did the drama thing. I had a scholarship to college, for God's sake. I had a personally written letter from the chair of the department at Morehead State University in Kentucky saying that, literally, quote, "We need you more than Uncle Sam." And it just felt like all the creativity had been bottled up for so long.
Right.
And I needed an outlet.
Okay, fair enough. That's the right reason to do that. Okay, yeah. Now you've got the director, you've got a location, you got housing and, food. You're going to need equipment, you're going to need all this kind of stuff. So you say you did a budget. How did you even know how to do the budget?
Once again, I leaned on Luke, who had done short films. He had worked on feature films. He knew a lot of people who had done feature films. And so basically he took their budget, and as we used it as a template, okay, we need this, we need this, we need this.
How many days did you plan on shooting?
We planned on shooting for 13 days, and we got 11 and a half.
You finished after 11 and a half?
Yeah, we finished the film in 11 and a half days. That was not by design. We got snowed in at a blizzard, so we were snowed in at the hotel for a day.
So you lost a day of shooting then?
We lost a half a day of shooting, actually.
Oh.
Because we were supposed to lose 2 days of shooting, but we lost only a day and a half, sorry. We lost a day and a half because there were some scenes that we could double at the hotel that showed up well.
You could fake it for being inside the gas station, right? Okay, now when did you contact me, and remind me, why did you contact me? To do a reality check? Are you nuts?
Well, there was that. So I contacted you.
I remember the call. I just can't remember when it was.
Yeah, we were just about to start shooting, and I think it was a little. I love you, but it was a little dismissive.
It was probably very dismissive.
Okay, here we go again. Guy wants to make a movie out of nowhere.
No, but you tell him. I remember you said I was in the Marine Corps. I ran a martial arts school. I'm thinking this tough guy. Like, what's he going to do? How's he going to get through this process?
Yep. So you're like, okay, contact me again when the movie's finished.
No, but why did you contact me before? Did you ask me about distribution?
You were on a list. You were on somebody's list.
For what?
His name is Dan Mervish. He was one of the founders of the Slam Dance Film Festival.
Okay.
And you were on a list that he gave me. When I was looking for distributors, I was looking for, he gave me a long list of people in the industry that he either had direct contact with or they were contacts of friends. It was 30 pages and you were on that list.
But so did we talk about distribution in that conversation? Like what you're going to do with the movie?
Not in the first one.
So did we talk about production? What did we talk about?
Basically it was okay, make sure you do this, make sure you do this, make sure you do this. And we were able to do 2 of those 3 that I remember. I cannot remember what the third one was. The first one was you need a hook for marketing. And the other one was you need you need name talent. We were not able to do that one.
Okay, I don't say that anymore because nobody can afford name talent.
Yeah. But we had the hook for marketing. And oh, here we go.
There you go.
My own soft drink.
Okay, now you changed the name of the film. You said like from one night what was it called? One night at the In-N-Out or the drive-thru or whatever?
Yeah, it was originally, we went through, even when we were filming, we went through like 12 different names. It was originally New Year's Eve at the Stop and Go.
Right.
And we got into editing. I think we were about 3 months into editing the thing. And the actors contacted the director. And the actors are the ones that changed the name, actually. So the actors contacted the director. We think it should be this. And the director was like, okay, well, let me send it up to the producer, see what he thinks. And I knew we were going to have to change the name. Matter of fact, that's the other thing that you said. You're going to need to change the name. It's too long. And I remember thinking to myself, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about because Everything, Everywhere, All at Once just won Oscars out the ying. But I knew that we needed to change it. And I then contacted 3 distributors and they said, oh, great, you changed the name. I hated that name. I was like, okay, well, I guess we're going to change the name of that. So I contacted the director. I was like, hey, Luke,
okay,
you win. I hated the name at first. I didn't like it. But after 3 distributors told me that I needed to change the name, I was like, okay, I guess I got to do it.
Okay, so from the time you did that table read to the time you were in the first day of production, you said that was 3 months?
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
And did you use all your own money to produce this?
I did. Yep.
Okay. So tell us so would you advise people to do that? Like, I mean, I don't know if you want to say the number or not. You're more than welcome to share the number.
If I took money, it was probably going to be from friends and family. And if the movie wasn't good or successful, in my mind, I've just burned some bridges. They're never going to support another thing I do.
Or that relationship get tainted, you could lose a friendship. Right. Yeah.
Anytime you throw in money with a family dynamic, So my thinking at that time was, I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to invest in me first. People will see, because nobody will invest in you unless you invest in you.
I so agree. I say you got to have skin in the game to start.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I'm the world's oldest film student right now. I'm in film school. It's one of the reasons why you go to film school. You're investing in yourself. Why you go to college for anything, really. You're investing in yourself. You're investing in your future prospects. Mm-hmm. I wanted to do that first. And after hearing all of the horror stories that indie filmmakers go through, I think I heard a stat a while ago, 90% of independent films don't even get finished. So I thought, okay, well, if it doesn't get finished, that's even worse. But I haven't burned any bridges. This is basically how I'm going to learn how to do this. And I feel comfortable doing that.
Fair enough. I mean, you don't have to, Brandon, but if you want to share how much actual cash went in, not the value of your time and all the contributions that everybody made for free, but the amount of cash.
So we shot it for $300.
300's a lot.
Yeah. we shot it for $300. All of the post-production stuff, all of the marketing, getting the soft drink together, all of the getting it into film festivals and travel. And I did fly the cast in twice for different premieres. All of that was probably an additional $150 to $200.
So $500,000. So you're into it for a fair amount of money.
Yeah.
And that's probably without paying yourself for all the time and effort you put in.
Well, I got a truck out of it.
Okay. Okay.
I did buy a truck with the production funds under the guise of transportation vehicle.
Okay. Well, you need a transportation vehicle. Okay. All right. So that's a big investment, bigger than most people, frankly, are able to make. And even if they were able to make it, maybe wanting to make it, but you were obviously committed to it and you got your family on board. Mm-hmm. And so, okay, but you decide this is something you have to do. So tell us about doing it. Tell us about production. You said it's the second hardest thing you did in your life. Why? So
in the military, before a decision is made and like the commander is asking for opinions, go for it. You give your opinion raw, unadulterated. This is what I think. Once the decision is made, everyone acts as if they were the one to make that decision.
They're all bought in. They're all on board.
So even if we hate the final decision, we still act as if we were on board the whole time. That doesn't happen on a movie sets. There's lots of personalities and you just have to navigate that. I think that was one of the biggest adjustments that I think I had to make was, somebody will fight tooth and nail for an idea. And if you don't go with it, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, they're bad on that set that day. They're all butthurt the entire day,
So you're saying there's some frustrations in dealing with.
Yeah. What I found over the years since doing this is, you let them get them bought in, even if it's not something that you would normally do. Maybe you take a smaller idea of theirs and you implement it. Mm-hmm. It tends to go a long way because then people feel like they're being heard.
Yeah, I can tell you something, Brandon. If you do this again a few more times, you'll see it's your decisions are going to be more like the military. You're going to say,
"Oh no!" I've found now that I've started directing the things that I write. Yeah,
here's the idea, guys. Buy in, and this is what we're going with.
Yeah, absolutely. At the time, though, it's my first project. I was literally oh my God! Have you seen The Studio with Seth Rogen?
Yeah, I have.
Oh,
yeah.
The episode, The Oneer, where he walks into the shot 4 times.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I'm watching that episode. I'm like, oh my God, that was me on Turbo Cola the entire time.
Right.
And the only reason why anybody was nice to me was because I was the one writing the check.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Exactly. Okay, so you go and you shoot. You get some bad weather. Obviously, you explained that. Got a little delayed. Did the shoot more or less go well, or were you aggravated the whole time? Or
no, far from aggravated. The actors that we got for this thing were so good, like professional on every level. What I had done is when I was making the shooting schedule, because we couldn't do a full 12-hour day, we could go from 9 to 6, so 9 at night to 6 in the morning. So what I would do is I would go, okay, from 7 to 8 or 7 to 8:30, because we were the only ones in the hotel. So they let us use their conference room for rehearsals. So what we would do is we would mock up the gas station.
Right.
and we would do all of our blocking at the hotel before we went to set.
Right.
So about an hour and a half of working with the director at the hotel before we went to set. I thought that was genius. And I patted myself on the back for that one. But what I didn't know, and I didn't know this until like the third or fourth day, was that the actors in their rooms had already gotten together that night to go over their lines of what they were getting ready to do. So they went over their lines in the room for like 2 hours, then came to the blocking rehearsal in the conference room. So by the time we got to set, at our height, we were knocking out 10 pages a night.
Wow.
Just because the actors were so on. They were so on. And I know that can sometimes be rare, but for us, it was a daily occurrence.
So what would you say were the biggest challenges on set for you, being a first-time producer?
The biggest challenges on set were, for me, was staying out of the way and not looking like I was asking too many dumb questions.
Okay.
Even though I did.
Okay.
I trusted the director. He had shot 2 commercials for me before. I was in a short film that he did. So we had worked together before. I trusted the guy, and I trusted the crew that he came up with. I didn't get the crew. I trusted the crew that he came up with.
And in hindsight, were you happy with him and the crew?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Great. Okay, so sorry, when did you shoot? You shot 2 years ago?
No, we shot in December of 2020.
2020, right. That's a while ago. Okay. And then let's talk about post-production. Now, who did the edit?
Luke also did the edit.
Okay. Yeah. And how long did it take him to edit?
It was about 9 months. I would say about 10 months.
And who did all the sort of post-sound and music and all that kind of stuff? Did you hire that out or Luke did it?
So when it came time to get the music, when we finally had a little bit of a rough cut in there, and again, this is one of those things where he was like, hey, we need this. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'll see what I can do. And like an hour later, I call him back up. Hey, I got this. You know, the band that did the soundtrack for us is my wife's cousin.
Wait, but Luke found them or you?
No, I found them.
Oh, you found them. Okay, so you're...
So Luke literally calls me. Says, okay, we're ready for a soundtrack now. We need a cool 90s sounding band. I was like, okay, cool. I'll be on the lookout for a 90s sounding band. Literally, my wife's cousin posted her son's first music video on Facebook 20 minutes later. And I'm like, wait a minute, these guys are pretty good. So we contracted them for 2 songs. One song that they already did, which was the music video that I saw. And the other was an original song just for the movie. I was thinking we were going to play it at the end credits. And then Luke started looking into their library a little more and dropping their songs in and about the movie. And a couple of weeks later, he calls me up. He's like, hey, is there any way we can get their whole library? Because they had a song for every beat of the film.
Right. I'm sure they were thrilled to have their music in a movie.
Oh yeah, they were more than happy to do it. And as a matter of fact, I brought them to Central Pennsylvania to do the music video for the song that they had written for the movie, and we filmed it in the gas station where we filmed the
cool.
movie.
That's perfect. Cool.
And I brought back 2 of the actors for cameos.
Okay, now when did you finish the film? When was it ready to be released?
So it was ready to be released, I want to say November of 21. Like we've got all the sound, it's the color edited exactly the way we want. It's ready to go. November of 21, we started looking at distributors. Yeah,
but you're in the height of the pandemic at that point.
Yep.
And we may have talked again at that point because I know you called me.
By then we had talked again.
Yeah, we talked about distribution. So
and you were very adamant about what to ask for, and that I like the game that you played when you say, "Well, are you the best distributor?"
Oh yeah, I told you. I walked you through that whole routine. Right.
But well, if you're the best distributor, you should be able to give me a minimum guarantee, right?
Right. I mean, you should know what you're doing. You should be able to get it out there. You should be able to make some sales. Otherwise, why would I go with somebody who doesn't know what they're doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about that part of the journey, the distribution. So just walk us through one, trying to find a distributor and kind of right through to where you're at now.
So, again, I had that list that Dan Mervish had given me. And I had started, even before it was finally ready, even on the rough cut. Once we got the trailer, it was so weird how people change if I could just get them to see the trailer. Because as creative as people like to say they are, no one can really see what you're talking about until they see your trailer. Once they see your trailer, especially if it's a good trailer, it was amazing to me how the body language changed, how the tone of voice changed, how the words that they used changed. I had two distributors outright tell me no. And then upon further review of our trailer, now all of a sudden they wanted to talk because they heard first-time filmmaker.
Right.
What they didn't know was that the people actually making the film were all pros. I was the first-time filmmaker.
Right.
And once they saw the trailer, everything changed. I basically I did all the things you're not supposed to do. I cold called, I cold emailed. I got an email back from A24 with lots of capital letters in it. Don't ever contact us again, you dumbass, you know.
At least you got one. Most people don't even get a response. So feel happy that you got a response.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Hey, I got a response from A24. That's pretty cool. It was a very, very negative response.
Okay, but now you wouldn't even get a response from them. So you're ahead of the game there.
But I then went, because I wasn't having any luck on my own. So then I thought, okay, I called up Dan, and Dan was very instrumental in all of this as well. I called him up, and I said, okay, well, I'm not having the best of luck getting people to take this film seriously. What would you recommend? So his film, 18 and a half, which I was an associate producer on, it went through, can I name names?
Yeah,
here?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. Went through Glenn Reynolds at Circus Road, and he's not a distributor himself.
He's an agent.
Basically, right. He's a sales agent, and that's where we started to have people take us seriously, with or without the trailer, and we made it to the desk of Lionsgate, to somebody's desk at Lionsgate. And of course they passed on it because at the time, in my opinion, this is the reason why, I don't know if this is a fact or not, they were working on Clerks 3. So timing,
Yeah, fair enough. But, making it to that desk, as they say, that could mean a lot of things. Who knows what that really means?
I knew we had something, but this showed us that we had something, that somebody at that level was at least taking a look at us,
Yeah, fair enough. As long as they was actually real and they actually were taking a look. Okay. So then where did you end up ultimately?
So we ended up, once we had like 7 or 10 offers, Glenn put it into an Excel spreadsheet, the top 5 offers. And it was pretty obvious which one was the top offer. Once you put it out into a spreadsheet, it's
right. And you can see comparing, say, length of term and royalties and fees and costs and all this kind of stuff. You can compare everything side by side. Right. Do you mind saying who you're with?
We're with Giant Pictures.
Okay.
Out of New York.
Yep.
They were absolutely amazing especially in the beginning. At the time that the Tribeca Film Festival was going on in New York, there was also a smaller film festival that we got into. It was our New York premiere at a smaller film festival. They brought the whole New York. They could have gone to Tribeca and schmoozed with the bigwigs, but they came to this smaller film festival. The entire New York office came down and supported our film. you don't hear of distributors doing that very often.
No, that's nice of them. So when did they actually release the film? What was the release date?
June of 22. We got our deal. So our film was ready in November of 21.
Right.
We got our deal in, I want to say, December of 21.
Okay, that's pretty quick.
Again, Glenn did a great job of putting it all into a spreadsheet. And we got our deal. We were supposed to come out in February. And I'm like, you don't hear too many February films, you know? So I wanted to push it back a little bit. And they said, okay, we'll push it back. Where do you want to go? I said, let's go June. So the middle of June, it was my birthday present to myself.
No, nice.
So June, I think it was 14th, whatever that Wednesday is in the middle of the month.
Okay, and then where did they release it to? They put it onto some streaming platforms, obviously.
Yep, Amazon, Apple TV, iTunes, Fios, Tubi, Roku, Letterboxd. Yeah.
Okay, so some of them are transactional video on demand, TVOD, where people pay, so it's available for rental or purchase, right?
Right.
And then some are AVOD, where you can watch it for free. So
we started off with TVOD,
right.
transactional. And then after a few months, we went, they then started to put us on to AVOD.
Do you mind sharing sort of what the adventure there has been and the results?
So it was pretty cool that we had distribution before our film festival run kicked off. Our film festival run kicked off in February of 22. We already had our deal in place
right.
Before that, which was pretty cool. The band released the original song in January of 23. And the whole thing about making not only an independent film, a feature film, but a good independent feature film is that you get to talk about it for a long time. I mean, I'm here talking with you about it.
Yep.
You know, we filmed the thing 5 years ago.
Right, exactly.
But I got to meet Kevin Smith 3 times. It got into his film festival, which was cool. The guys at Film Threat,
Chris Gore.
Chris Gore and Alan Ning.
Yeah.
We won Best Independent Film of the Year, Best Independent Comedy of the Year. For 2023 at their Film This awards ceremony. I got to go to South by Southwest and talk on a panel because of Turbo Cola. And I went to Cannes because of it this past year, because I made a movie. And somebody took notice that Turbo Cola, one of my short films, Calls, and the script for the short film that we just finished all got into his film festival. And he called me up one day. He's like, dude, what is in the water in Pennsylvania? Because this is the 3rd time you've come up. And I was like, well, I just try to make stuff, you know. And he's like, you want to go to Cannes and stay in my villa? And I was like, you know, like Ace Ventura, you know, gee, let me think, you know.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you again and again. You don't have to answer, all right? But where are you at with the film now? I'm sure a lot of listeners.
Financially.
Yes.
So financially, we are $8,800 away from finally making money.
Hold on, but you said you're into it for $500,000.
Yep.
So you're almost break even.
Almost.
That's amazing. That's a success story, a big one. And that is primarily from, would you say AVOD or TVOD?
Tubi.
Primarily Tubi.
We're big on Tubi.
Okay, now how are you big on Tubi? Are you doing a lot of social media? Are you?
No, that's the funny thing. I'm not doing a lot of paid social media stuff. There are Tubi Facebook pages out there. There are Apple TV Facebook pages out there. There are Letterboxd pages, you know, and every now and then somebody will post, hey, what are you watching this weekend on Tubi? What are you watching this weekend on Apple TV? And I'll throw up our poster and I'll throw up, you know, our trailer. But I'm really not doing any more paid I did do in the beginning, I did do a lot of paid advertising, but it's been a couple years. I just go out there every now and then. And,
I mean, Tubi, you know, has 60 or 70,000 movies. half of which are big budget Hollywood, A-list actor movies. So the fact that you're getting that kind of traction on Tubi is remarkable. I mean, I didn't know this. This is a huge success story.
Yeah, we're doing okay.
No, that's better than okay. That's really good. Okay is if you were maybe 100 or 200,000 into it. But if you're almost $500,000 into Tubi revenue and or other stuff, then you're well ahead of the curve.
It's the whole thing.
It's still the whole thing. The whole thing. That is a success story. You are amongst the top 2%, maybe 1% of indie films. That's great. Congratulations. Like, I haven't spoken to you in a few months. I didn't realize that those were the numbers. This is even better news.
Well, yeah. Again, and then one of the things that I like about our distributor is that they are on time with their reports.
Yeah.
Again, you hear some horror stories out there.
There's tons of horror stories. Bad deals, no reporting, no money sent when there's a report, all kinds of crazy stuff. But you haven't experienced that. So you're in the minority. You're in the very, very small minority of filmmakers who this has been profitable, almost profitable venture for. You realize that you're in the 1%.
The main thing was that I went into this thinking that this is what I was going to learn on. I wasn't thinking about Fair enough, but that's an expensive film school education. Do you realize, you're pretty nonchalant about it. I mean, I would be on the table doing the chicken dance if I were you. Like, I'd be so excited. Yeah, I don't get too excited about too many things.
Really? This is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that we have a film that people have seen, and that 5 years later, I'm still talking about it.
You're going to talk about it for the rest of your life, because now you don't have...
I hope so.
You don't have 4 children anymore. You have 5. You've got 4 daughters and a film. This is a child. You created this. It's going to be yours forever. It's going to outlive you. And I mean, it's a film. It exists forever. So, I mean, and it's a real feat to do what you've done. People are going to hopefully listen to this episode and be inspired by it to say, hey, Jeff keeps saying how difficult it is. And now he's got a guest on who said that I just went through the process. It was the second hardest thing I did in my life, but I did it. I learned a lot from it. But more importantly, I made my money back not on a $50,000 film, on a $500,000 film. That's a feat.
Okay, I see what you're saying. No.
Did I get the numbers wrong here?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, maybe. Okay.
I was like, wow, he's getting really excited about this.
I am excited.
So, no. We are $8,800 away from me starting to make a paycheck.
You starting to make a paycheck. What does that mean?
We still owe the distributor $8,800.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, this is, oh, no, I completely misinterpreted this. Completely. What you're saying is, I want to clarify this for the audience just to make sure we're on the same page, and I hope you don't mind me sharing it, because
No, go ahead.
This podcast is called Truth and Reality. So you're saying that the distributor had to charge you some costs in order to probably release the film, promote it, market it, go to markets, put it up on the streaming platforms, delivery, all this kind of stuff. So there were some costs. Let me guess, $50,000 to $75,000 worth of costs or something like that. Maybe more. Because it
was less than that.
Okay, let's call it $50,000 worth of cost just so we can talk about it, okay?
Okay.
Now they're going to start to generate revenue primarily off of Tubi and some of the other streaming platforms, and they're going to start to recoup those costs, and you're almost fully recouped up to, you still owe $8,800 on those costs. So when you get a producer's statement from the distributor, it basically says, $42,000 in revenue, less $50,000 in costs, so minus $8,000. So you're almost recouped through the costs, but they also, take their distribution fee and all this kind of stuff. And then you can start to try to chip away at recouping your budget.
Correct.
Okay. That is I'm sorry to you and to my audience for misinterpreting that. That is a completely different scenario.
Yeah, completely. I was like, wow, he's getting really excited about this. This is
Brandon, that's more the norm. That's more of the norm of what I actually hear. The other thing was, like the miracle story, but that's more the norm. Okay. So that's more realistic. So you're 2 years into it and you're not even into sort of producer revenue, just recouping costs. So although they did a good job for you, it's been, I'm going to say a bit of an uphill battle getting the money back.
Yeah.
Okay. But you will have the film and hopefully it will keep getting traction, and hopefully it'll keep growing audience. So that's a different story.
Well, the thing, again, I went into this as my learning curve.
Fair enough. And you learned a ton.
Yeah. And again, I got into this for acting. I'm on Netflix now, which is pretty cool. Tires, the show Tires with Shane Gillis.
Nice.
I was in one episode. I got 5 lines. They cut it down to 2.
Okay, still you have a credit. You have a Netflix credit.
But season 2, episode 6, I'm on Tires. Damn it!
Right.
So I'm still having fun doing the acting thing, and I've started to write and direct my own stuff as well. I just finished a couple Saturdays ago something that had been in my head for 40 years. Again, the flood of creativity is coming out, and I'm having a hard time finding time to let it out.
Well, the good news is, look, you're in a position in your life where you can afford to be creative, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a great...
and again, because I'm retired twice, I know that I'm going to have a place to live.
Right.
I know that I'm going to eat. I know that, even though I'm not stylish, I'm going to have clothes. As long as I'm not stupid with what I have, I know that my bills are always going to be paid for.
Well, that's good. That's a fortunate position to be in, and it's very comfortable. Closing last words for filmmakers. I mean, you live the dream that they want to live. Now, when you make your money back, it's going to be more of the dream that they want to live, but still being able to say, I had an idea, I found I found a script, I made it into a movie, I released it, now I'm moving on. What would you advise, new aspiring filmmakers based on what you've learned along the way?
Go do it. You're going to have everyone and their mother telling you this and that, and you shouldn't do this, or you shouldn't do that, or there's going to be plenty of naysayers. Going from owning a business in one extreme to owning a business in another extreme. I own my own production company now, and you have people, how are you doing this? And a friend of mine, when Turbo Cola came out and he heard I was going to be on TV a couple of times, he's like, how are you doing this? Because he remembered me from high school, and we're good enough friends where he can say this sort of thing. He's like, you were always the dumbest one of us. How are you doing this? And then a couple months later, when we win I was about a year and a half later, we win Best Independent Film of the Year for 2023. He calls me up. He goes, I figured it out. I figured out why you're able to do what you do. And he says, no, you're still dumb, but you're too dumb to know when to quit.
Persistent.
So be too dumb to know when to quit.
Okay, fair enough. I'm just gonna put the cherry on top of that, and I say, go for your dream, but only to the point where you can afford to try it.
No, that's very...
Okay. Yeah. Brandon, you didn't have to make a credit card film. Don't make a credit card film. Don't max out your credit cards. You were able to afford it and you wanted to live the dream. But I'm telling filmmakers out there, do not go into debt to make a film.
No.
Okay. Even though it's a dream. All right, Brandon, thank you so much for being a guest. I appreciate it. It's always good to speak with you. And I'm sure the journey will continue. I'm sure that you and I will be chatting a lot more because it feels like you got the bug and you're going to have it for the rest of your life.
Summer of 26, July of 26, I think we may be shooting the next feature.
Okay, so I'm sure we will be talking again, but thank you so much for being a guest on the show and for being honest and sharing, your real adventure with everybody.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Brandon. So that was Brandon Keeton, independent filmmaker. I've known him for many years. I followed his journey, and I guess I misunderstood when he talked about revenue for the movie, because what we ultimately discovered is what I was expecting, because that's mostly the journey of independent filmmakers is unfortunately they don't make their money back. I thought that he was one of the rare miracle cases where he did. I'm not saying he's not going to. It's going to maybe take a little bit longer. But I really appreciated his honesty, and hopefully a lot of you listeners who are aspiring to do what he has done learned a lot from this episode. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. As always, feel free to send me your comments and questions, jdeverett@deverettmedia.com, and please subscribe from wherever you're listening. See you next time.